Hi, I'm Colin and welcome to How to Paint Watercolors. So if you're ready, we'll get started and we'll paint this one. Hello and welcome to How to Paint Watercolors with me, Colin. This is Lighthouse series number 1, and I've just stretched my paper, and what I'm doing, I'm just drying up around the back edge with a kitchen towel to minimise any runbacks. That's how you do it. I've added some masking fluid to the areas that I want to keep clean, and a tip for you here: if you add the masking fluid after you've stretched your paper, dry off the area you want to keep white, and then add the masking fluid while the paper is stretched, you won't get cockling. It always stays nice and flat. So this is some Naples yellow that we mixed up. There is a companion painting mixing video to this, which I will put on YouTube for you at the same time as this comes out. This is just a couple of streaks of Naples yellow, nice and pale. And into that, I just want to drop some of the alizarin crimson straight forward. Don't want it too strong, just little hints of it in there. And then just work that in slightly. Not much. You'll hardly see it. This is cobalt blue. This is the very weak mixture. You can bring it right down into the Naples yellow and don't work it in and you won't get green. This is an old photograph and I can't remember what the lighthouse is called because it was just years and years ago that I found the photograph, and I've only just come across them, and unfortunately I did not write down where it was. So if anybody recognises it, please let me know. This is a permanent alizarin crimson, again all permanent crimson. Moving that into the sky there and working that into the blue, bringing it together. Then we can begin to strengthen it up. This is a stronger mixture of the cobalt blue. I want to bring in some stronger areas. I do prefer to make interesting skies. A little bit stronger here, permanent crimson. Little streak in there. This is a touch of the violets that we made, cobalt blue, permanent crimson. I've got the board laying flat at the moment. Bringing some through the Naples yellow. Just to create them streaky clouds that you can find. I think at the same time we will drop the sea in. Cobalt blue. Cobalt blue and permanent crimson. Just flat washes at the moment, nothing spectacular. Just make that area just a little bit more interesting. Don't worry about this, you'll have plenty of time to get your colour in as the paper is still wet. A little shot of crimson back in there, I think. A little bit in there. I'll have a little bit in the sea. Now I'm going to let this dry off for 1 or 2 moments until the shine starts to disappear off the paper, and then we'll add some stronger colour. The water is just disappearing off the paper, but whilst it's still wet, I'm going to take some of the deeper cobalt blue and permanent crimson, and I'm taking the excess off the brush. I take the excess paints off the brush. Then we can add some interesting clouds. You still have plenty of time. Get deeper in patches. Slightly dark around where the white of the lighthouse is going to be. I'm just allowing the brush to dance, just creating the interesting shapes to create your very interesting sky. Keeping it up around where this crimson is. I want to keep this light patch of blue here. I just want to darken this corner slightly. Keeping this all beautiful and soft, very gently bringing the colours together. I also want to add some into the sea. All horizontal strokes. Leaving gaps between the paint so that some of the original wash shows through. Then we're going to take some of our cobalt blue and burnt sienna with just a hint of permanent crimson in, and we're going to add some touches of grey into it just to deepen it, not everywhere. Take the excess off. A little darker here. Once again, just bringing some into the sea, keeping it all unified. Always allowing some of the other colour to show through. Just a couple of shots of crimson, I think. Work it in. All these colours will go together. You won't create mud. And the moment you feel yourself start to fiddle, I'm not fiddling at the moment, I'm just softening some of the areas in, but I think we're getting close to fiddling time. Now that's time to stop, and it's time to let that all dry. Okay, that's nice and dry. It's still slightly damp. I do like to keep the paper damp and stretched, and I also like to take the opportunity to thank all the people who wished Kathy well after a stroke. She really did appreciate that. She's doing very well, and we have her blood pressure under control now, and I'm just adding some Naples yellow just in spots with a tip of a brush into these rocks here, and we're going to allow some colours to run together. I'm going to take some of the burnt sienna. I hope you'll agree with me that that sky looks absolutely beautiful. It's full of interest, it's very soft. There is more buildings on this island, but I decided to leave them out. See, you can do that. You don't have to put everything in. Then I want to take some of the purpley grey, cobalt blue, permanent crimson, and a little bit of burnt sienna in it. And I'm going to drop this in as well. It's just making a mottled effect on the rocks. A lot of this will not show through in the end, but it is there. Just adds more and more interest, so everything is not just one flat wash. Taking some of the colours that were mixed up before, that I always use, so I always keep them mixed up, and I'm going to add some of the burnt sienna into some of these rocks here, along the top there. We'll be scraping these out. I'm going to go to a deeper brown, French ultramarine and burnt umber. I said I already mixed these colours up. I use them all the time, so I don't keep mixing the colour all the time, otherwise it gets pretty wasteful. Then into a really dark one, almost inky black, French ultramarine and burnt umber. Putting it on the back edge of this where the shadow's coming over the top. Just dropping this in here. Remember, this will dry an awful lot lighter, but I just want to add the interest in. Just making the ground uneven here. Once again, it just adds interest to that skyline. And while we're waiting for all that to dry off a little bit, I'm going to add some of the waves in, taking some of the cobalt blue, permanent crimson, and burnt sienna. All horizontal strokes, and you get a hit and miss effect as the brush dries out. You can also soften off the areas that you don't want hard at the bottom. Just doing a few at a time. It's a nice edge up here, I think. And I've caught the rock. Deal with that in a minute. Should take that out. And I'm just catching the bottom of these because I just want a little bit of reflection, but I don't want a great deal. I just want to fuzz the edge up. taking some of our violet, deeper violet colour. We're going to add some of this in. Once again, all horizontal strokes. We may add a few more after this, but I just want to get some on before I have to let it dry. Once again, just softening off one or two areas with a damp brush. We have to let this dry off slightly. Okay, I've given this a few minutes to dry off and we'll give it a try. We'll see what happens. I'm using the tip of an old painting knife. As you come through the different colours, you get different shades in your rocks. And then we'll remove the masking fluid. Okay, everything's dry now and I've just taken the masking fluid off. As we come to the lighthouse, I just want to run some water on it. Then I want to take some of the violet we made with the cobalt blue and the permanent crimson. I'm going to drop this on this side. Pulling it forward slightly. Drop some in the top as well. Just allowing it to drift. I want a little tiny drop. Even that's a little bit too strong. I want to take some of the grey that we mixed up, cobalt blue, permanent crimson and a little touch of burnt sienna. I want to add that in as well, just allowing it to drift over on its own. Softening it, always removing the excess off the brush so you don't get too much paint deposited. And I'm just tapping it in on the edge, just gently tapping it, just touching it. Come down here to the house, I'm going to put the roof in. Little roof on this one here. Little water along the white. This is actually white, but it does need some shading in just to help it out, some shadows. And I'm going to take some of the purple once again, the violet colour, very pale. I'm dropping this in, very pale. And some of the grey. Very gently softening this in. Then I want to take some of my French ultramarine and burnt umber and just add a little bit of that purple grey just to bring it down some. I think a little bit more than that, just to really darken it. You see how that's darkening it? And right along the edge once again. Just taking the excess moisture off the brush all the time when I do this. I'm going to bring a little shadow onto the roof. chimney. It's a very, very pale colour, so I'm just letting the water, adding water to that colour, and it's very, very slight. You can hardly make that out. But it will add just a touch of shadow on the front. As straight as I can get it. If you're enjoying these videos, then please click the like button and consider subscribing. Subscribers are always welcome. I just want a tiny touch of yellow. Basically any yellow would do this. But I'm not even looking to see which one I've actually picked out. And I'm going to grey it with some of the purple mixture. And then I want to add it in here. Just for a grassy, there's a little grassy area there. Taking some of the darker mixture, touching that in. This will just vary it slightly, so it doesn't look like one flat colour. Taking some of the purple once again. And I want to darken that as well. I want to make it too dark. Just enough to change its colour, its tone. And once again, I can just bring some waves in here. Dots and dashes, and a bit like Morse code. Keep the horizon with a straight line. It can trouble you if you don't. Straighten that up. I'm just going to be adding a little more movement to this side of the painting because it's weighted from the centre to the right that way. So with a little more detail in this section here, we can balance it out. Making it a little stronger as we come into the foreground and a little bit bigger to bring it forward. I'm going to take some of the cobalt blue and I'm just going to put a shadow down the sides of these chimneys, and then we have to wait for that to dry. Okay, everything's really nice and dry, and I'm going to take some of the very grey purple and I'm going to grey it down even further. We put some windows in, make sure I get this in the right area. There's one there, there's one here, there's one here, and there's a door at the bottom there. And we want a door here, this cottage, a couple of windows, capping stone on top of the chimneys. Just pull a little of that colour down, just on one side, just to give a little bit of shadow. Same colour. There's a fence all along here. One or two details in the tops of the lighthouse. There's a railing here. I'm going to take a craft blade, and I just want to bring some white sparkle back onto it. Just drawing a surf line in. And then with your craft knife, just take some of the tops of the waves out, these little tiny waves. Don't go too deep. close up on the camera, and I don't think it would be complete without a few seagulls. There's one turned on its side there. Hope you've enjoyed these videos. If you have, please click the like button and consider subscribing. Subscribers are always welcome, and it's free. And this is where you get around to signing it, putting a mat around it and framing it. So once again, until next time, I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. Thank you.